Welcome back to No Idea, the podcast where you have no idea what we're going to talk about, and we have no idea how it's going to go. It's me, it's Jenny, and I am so happy to be recording with you guys today. And I have two guests with me. And these two guests have both been on this podcast before. So I would just like to say thank you to both of you for agreeing to do this again. We have Hannah and Anna. Isn't that crazy? You guys are roommates.
Yeah.
And now I'm in your home, and we all get to record this together. So Anna, as in Annabeth, to not be confused, okay? You guys live together, and Anna, you are a two-timer. You've been here 2 times.
Yeah.
Thank you for agreeing to do that. Say hello.
Hello.
And then Hannah, this is your 4th time.
Heck yeah.
That's like the most I've ever had anyone on here. So thank you for agreeing to, she's not sick of me yet.
No.
So 4 times in a, well, not in a row. 4 times in general.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Say hello one more time.
Hello. Again.
Again. So I met you guys basically around the same time.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Part of the same class.
Right. In college. So we became friends around the same time. That would be about 3, almost 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's insane.
That's kind of really weird to say that I've known you for, first of all, that I've known you for that long. Second of all, that we've been pretty much been friends for that long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
I feel old.
I feel old now. My back. We want you guys to get to know us better, so we decided to do fun facts about each other. So we're going to say a fun fact about the person to our right. So, Hannah, why don't you go first? Hannah, tell us a fun fact about Anna.
Well, so we are roommates. We live in the same apartment, and we share a room at the moment. And fun fact about Anna is that when she's stressed, she talks in her sleep.
What did she
And
say?
It's
I'm
mostly,
so stressed.
yeah. It's mostly like, or, or, I don't know, like, I think you mumbled a few things, but
Probably.
I'm usually, like, half asleep, and, like, I only hear, like, the end of what you're saying, so, yeah.
Nice.
Lovely.
If you ever want to tell us a story while you're asleep or anything, feel free.
You just ask. Ask away.
Ask. I'll make sure it happens. Okay, Anna, what is a fun fact about me?
Jenny has a very, very unhealthy obsession with cows and Wisconsin.
Both those things.
Very bad.
I just love Wisconsin, and it's so close, and it's so beautiful, and it has so much farmland. It's dairy.
It's dairy.
It's made out of cheese. Yeah, I just love cheese. I love Wisconsin. I don't think I've had a bad experience in Wisconsin. Every trip I've taken there, I'm like, wow, I thoroughly enjoyed that.
It is beautiful. I can.
You are from Wisconsin, so.
I am.
But you are not a fan.
I am not.
I understand. That's okay. We accept you for who you are.
Thank you.
So I will tell a fun fact about the Hannah Meister. So would it be last year?
Yeah, last summer.
Okay, so last summer when Hannah and I were roommates, the fun fact about her is that the smell of sweet coffee in the mornings reminds me of her automatically now. Because there was a time before she got a night job. That was crazy. Crazy times.
Never again.
Memories. Whenever she would work in the morning, I would always wake up to the smell of sweet coffee brewing. And she would be sitting in her chair by the window, looking out. She's not fully awake yet, but she's like... And I would just wake up to that noise. It was so endearing. I loved waking up to that smell and just waking up to seeing you sitting in your chair not awake. It's nice. So automatically, if I smell sweet coffee, I now think of you.
Wow, I feel so honored.
Yeah, you should. So thank you for the fun facts.
Yeah.
So now you guys know us better. And now we're going to introduce our topic for today. I'm very excited. We did a part 1 to this already. Not with these specific people, but my friend Zoe and I recorded a podcast a couple episodes ago that was entitled The Fatherhood of God Part 1, and today we are doing The Fatherhood of God Part 2. Dun dun dun! So, we're so excited, and I think this was Hannah's idea, actually. I think it originated with you, because she just, like, randomly pulls out these lists, and she's like, I have a few ideas for podcasts! I'm like, wow, I should Okay. But Hannah, would you define what a father wound is?
When I think of a father wound, I think of a wound or trauma that has been caused by a father figure in your life, either intentional or unintentional. It doesn't really matter. It's whatever your brain kind of interprets as trauma or a wound that can affect you in your view of fathers.
Mm-hmm. And possibly your view of God too.
Yeah.
So we defined that on part 1 also, but we wanted to reiterate that even if your father figure or father was such a great dad or father figure, you could still have a few father wounds because all people are imperfect. So therefore, all fathers will mess up from time to time, as we all do. So there are several different types of fathers we could have in this world. And maybe some of you listening will resonate with one more than the other, but we just wanted to list some general types of fathers there are. Not every dad will fit into one of these categories, and that's okay. If you had a phenomenal dad, you're like, oh, he only did these few things wrong a couple times. That's wonderful. And some of these you'll be like, well, my dad kind of fit into 2 of those categories. Whatever, but we just wanted to describe them. So, Hannah, what would you describe as an absent father?
Yeah, an absent father is a father who is physically or emotionally not there for you in any capacity.
Okay, and number 2, Anna, would you describe what an abusive father would be defined as?
Yeah, I think an abusive father is anything that's done to you that hurts any part of you. So physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Would be labeled abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so number 3 is a passive father, and passivity can also be just as painful as an absent father, but in a silent but deadly type of way. So this would be a father who is physically present but is not emotionally present, is not emotionally available for their kids, and could even seem to lack concern or care for their children. And number 4 is a perfectionistic father, and this is a father who would have exceedingly high expectations for his kids, and not in a healthy way, but in a pressure-filled type of way, that you have to be in this career, you have to do this, or you won't have my blessing, or just has incredibly high standards that are impossible to meet, and so the kids feel that they are not enough. They can't meet their father's expectations. So we just picked those 4 categories, and again, not every father is perfect, so each father could have a little bit of one and less of the other, but those are just some general categories we wanted to pinpoint today. So we're going to hear both Hannah and Anna's stories about their personal fathers, and then we're going to come back to how that impacted their view of God and then what their healing process was like. Hannah, please take it away.
So just a general timeline. My dad has left 3 major times in my life. So when I was 1 or 2, he left my mom and just went off and did his own thing. I don't quite remember that very well because I was 1 or 2. I just know that I knew that I was missing something, but I couldn't, I knew I was missing my dad, obviously, because there is a lack of a man in my house, but it wasn't, something that I was totally concerned with. The second time, my dad had come back. My parents were married for 10 years, and they got a divorce when I was 15, and so he left again. And during that 10 years, he had traveled for work quite a bit, so even when he was there, he wasn't always there. So that was kind of an absent in a present period. And then the third time was when I was a sophomore in college. We had a falling out, and we didn't speak for 7-8 months, and that was when everything just kind of fell, and I fell apart, and I couldn't, all of the weight of every single time that my dad had left came just crashing down on me. And yeah, so the third time was definitely the worst for me. Yeah, and so that's why I think that my dad kind of fits into the absent father category.
Yeah, and my personal story with my dad was, I grew up with my dad being on the road a lot because he was a truck driver. And so he was gone usually about 5 days out of the week, and then home on the weekends. But through that, he wasn't like, I wouldn't consider him like being absent or not there or anything. He was just physically not there, but he was always there to like call or talk to and things like that. So my dad was there for me, I guess. So when I was 15, I found out that my dad had cancer, and it was at the same time that my parents split up. And so that just caused a lot of division in my family. And so I personally ignored the fact that my dad had cancer, and it caused a lot of division between me and him too, because I separated myself from that. And for years, I watched my dad just kind of like get sicker and sicker. And so that was really hard to watch and see happen just day by day. And yeah, that was my life for about 4 years. And through that, my dad was still like always there. Like he never like dwindled away or anything. Like he was there for me, he was there for all of his kids, for all of our friends. Like he was super strong. And so when I was 18, my dad passed away from cancer, and I graduated high school, and then I decided I was going to move to LA, partly to just kind of run away from everything, get out of my hometown, and just kind of start over. And yeah, so I moved to LA and started doing ministry there for the year.
All right. Thank you guys for sharing. And so I would love to ask both of you, how did your relationship with your dad at those times impact your view of how you saw God? So Hannah, you can go first.
Yeah, so the first few times that my dad was absent, I don't think there was a negative effect on how I viewed God. I wasn't really in my faith during those times, one, because I was very young the first time, but two, I was just angry, and I wouldn't even say I was angry at God. I was just neglecting my faith and neglecting God and like trying not to bring him into this. I mean, I guess you could say I was angry with God, and that kind of negatively affect that. But the third time was, I feel like I was so lucky, because this doesn't happen for most people, but it almost positively affected my view of God, because God met me in that season so sweetly, and he showed me what it was like to be his daughter and what his fatherhood looked like. And he brought men into my life that really showed me that because my dad messed up, that doesn't mean all men and all fathers are like that.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's beautiful. And Anna, how did your relationship with your dad impact your view of God at that time?
My relationship with my dad was really good, and he was very good at portraying God in just things that he did and who he was. And he did that in ways that he didn't have to necessarily bring God's name into it. He just did a really good job at reflecting Christ. And that's something that I didn't realize as a kid, but into my adulthood, I've now looked back and seen that a lot. And so because I related God to my dad so much, when my dad died, I felt like God kind of died with him, and so I really separated myself from God in that moment.
And we are so thankful. This is not where your stories stop. Yeah. So, I mean, we know that Christ offers us abundant life, and that includes healing of the things that have hurt us in life. So I would love to hear what your healing process was like for both of you in healing from your father wounds. We don't have to always start with Hannah. Anna, you can take it away. I mean, just whoever really wants to go first for
Anna,
it.
Why don't you take this one?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so my healing process was I feel like it was very messy because at the time that I moved to LA, I wasn't a Christian. And so I was kind of going through a lot of new things and repairing my relationship with God and becoming a Christian and all of that. And so it was very messy. And God brought a lot of healing, like, right away with my dad. And so at the beginning, God showed me a lot of pictures just back from when I was a kid growing up of my dad and the things that he would do and just who he was. And he would be like, hey, like, I was in your dad, like, and God was just showing himself through my dad in those times. And yeah, so that was a really sweet season of healing. And then I had to start to separate how God and my dad were different because my dad was human. Mm-hmm. And so in that time, God actually brought up a lot of mistakes that my dad made and just showed me ways that, like, my dad wasn't perfect and he did make a lot of mistakes and he was human and that's okay. And because he was human, his time had ended and that's why he had to leave and he died. But, you know, God isn't. And so just, like, making that distinction that even though my dad was a great dad, mm-hmm. he still was human. And mm-hmm. so that's kind of where I was able to separate the two and find healing in that.
And not put expectations of God on your dad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So good.
And so that happened the year after high school for you?
Yeah, so I was like 19.
Wow.
Yeah.
Prime. And Hannah, what was your healing process like?
Yeah, so the healing process for when my parents got divorced was very messy. I don't know if I ever actually fully healed from that until the third time that he left and we had that falling out. So the healing process for me was a lot of crying. Mm-hmm. A lot of crying and a lot of the Lord just meeting me so sweetly in that time. And I just found myself asking the same question over and over again of, if I'm not my dad's or if I'm not my dad's daughter, who am I? And, like, it was such a cry of my heart of just, I don't know who I am. Because mm-hmm. I was such a daddy's girl. Mm-hmm. And so I identified with my dad so much. And so when that was stripped from me, I felt like I had no identity. I felt like I was no one, and I had no meaning. Mm-hmm. Which is crazy to think about. I didn't realize how much, like, mm-hmm. identity I put into my dad from myself. But the Lord just met me so sweetly, and he told me who I was. So my name is obviously Hannah. And
nice to meet you.
But my name means grace. And the Lord just spoke over me, daughter of grace. Mm-hmm. And daughter by grace. And so he was just speaking to me and, like, showing me who I am as his daughter. And he put some very, very amazing people in my life. One of my best friends in college, I cried on her floor so many times. And she was just there for me in a way like no other friend could be. But she had never experienced fatherlessness, but she was just so loving and so understanding. Mm-hmm. She was like, girl, get it out. That's
just get it out. Get it. Get
it out of your system. But he also put an amazing father figure in my life, which was actually our supervisor for a while, and which was crazy and so unexpected because I didn't know him that well. But yeah, he's also human. He's not perfect, but he just was there for me in a way I didn't realize I needed. And yeah, so that was kind of like what my process was like.
That's beautiful. Mm-hmm. And while I was doing some research yesterday for this podcast today, I read on Psychology Today, and I'm pretty sure that I have learned this before, but it was crazy how this fact came up, and how you mentioned it. But the father in a family unit is the person who carries the most sense of identity for their children.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So, like, our moms, of course, have a part to play in we're forming who we are, but the father genetically, like, always carries more of a sense of identity of who the kid is. So that's just crazy how we identify so much with, like, who we are because of our dad.
Yeah.
And I also, this verse just came to mind, but I wanted to read Ephesians 1, verse 3 through 7, because that just goes along with how God is our heavenly Father, and we can identify our identity with him the most out of anyone in our lives. But it says, "Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, who has blessed us with every spiritual blessing in the heavenly places in Christ. And just as he chose us in him before the foundation of the world, that we would be holy and blameless before him, in love he predestined us to adoption as sons and daughters through Christ Jesus to himself, according to the kind intention of his will, and to the praise of the glory of his grace, which he freely bestowed on us in the Beloved. In him we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of our trespasses according to the riches of his grace." It's so beautiful. Yeah. But he predestined us before we were ever born so that we could be his sons and daughters. That's such beautiful story, and that is something he offers to each and every single one of us, regardless of what our earthly father was like, is like currently. But I would love to hear how you guys would encourage someone else who is listening. They're like, I think this applies to me. I think I have to work through some things. How would you encourage them to start healing through their father wounds?
I think one big thing is to just embrace the pain and not to, like, steer away from it. Like, embrace those hard feelings and lean into them too. And don't ever, like, close the door to them, because even when you think, like, your healing process is done, like, those wounds are still there. They're still a part of you, and they'll still come up. And to just not close that door and be done with it, and to let yourself feel it even years down the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even as we think, like, oh, it's over, or, like, yeah, like, I've forgiven, I'm gonna move on now, and just, if we try to close the door, like you said, it always comes back up.
It does.
Like, you can choose to ignore it if you want, but it will come back up in some time in your life.
Yeah, and it'll be even harder.
Yes,
if you don't
so just choosing to walk through it
yeah.
right when it comes up is the bravest and wisest thing you can do.
Yeah.
So I have, like, 5 very specific things that
Very specific
things that, like, I have learned throughout the past couple years. So the first one is to allow yourself to mourn, kind of like what Anna was saying, of just, like, feel those feelings, and mourn the falling out. Like, for me and my dad, there was an argument, or, you know, my parents split. Mourn that, like, the actual, like, event. Let yourself mourn the person. Like, that person's no longer in your life, and that's hard. Like, you have this hole in your life that you're like, who am I going to fill this with?
Or the relationship is just not the same.
Yeah, and then, the relationship isn't just the same. Like, with me and my dad, I was so close with him. That relationship will never be the same. And so I'm still mourning that. Like, I still get very sad about that a lot of the times. And so, just allow yourself to mourn when it comes up. Don't shove it down, because it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get harder to deal with. Second one is bring God into it. Let him speak identity over you, since our fathers, we put so much of our identity in our fathers. So just bring him into that and let him speak identity over you. My third thing is that we're not meant to carry this alone. The Lord is sufficient. If you don't have people in your life that you can bring into this, that you trust and that are safe for you, like, the Lord will meet you in that season and be there for you and be enough for you. But if it is possible, bring people into this pain with you so they can help carry your burdens, because you're not meant to carry this alone. And then, kind of going off of what you two were saying, the trauma doesn't disappear when you're healed, but I believe that it does get easier to kind of handle the more you are on top of it and, like, dealing with it
Yeah.
when it comes up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, I'm still realizing, like, certain things that I think because of what happened with my dad. But instead of, like, breaking down and being like, oh, what was me?
Mm-hmm.
I, like, notice it and I'm like, wow, okay, that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But I've put my identity in the Lord, and so I immediately turn to him and be like, okay, what do you have to say about this?
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's so
The
good.
last thing is just the Lord's faithfulness is enough, and he meets us so sweetly in this season, and we're never alone.
Mm-hmm.
We're never actually alone.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's so good. And I would also say forgiveness is key.
Yes.
Absolutely essential. I would maybe even say that is step one out of all of it, but I've heard it said that forgiveness is like taking the cork out of the bottle, and once you choose to do that, and it could take 100 times over saying, I forgive them out loud, it will get easier, and then you can start to heal from wounds that are in your life. And forgiveness is just such a crucial part because it'll open up your heart, so you're not holding that against the person anymore. So, I mean, it will not be dependent on, does this person deserve forgiveness? Because none of us deserve forgiveness, but Christ gives it to us freely. So I would say that's step one. That's so, so good. Also, counseling.
Yes.
Yes.
I
so
mean,
good.
why not? What do you have to lose? Yeah, I think counseling is also very helpful. If you want to talk with your friends, those are also very helpful, but a counselor is a trained professional who could work through that with you if that was an option for you. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And I would love to know, what are some key takeaways that you learned about God's fatherhood during that healing process for you? What are some key takeaways you learned that were new for you about God?
Just his gentleness.
Mm-hmm.
I knew God was gentle, but I always envisioned him as this, like, big, huge deity that is, like, mighty. Like, I mean, they're all true. Like, he's mighty, he is fierce, he is, like, a lot. But he's also so gentle. And so, like, he meets us in those seasons so, like, in the way that we need.
Yeah, so,
And so his,
individual to you.
Yeah, and so his gentleness and, like, his quietness, like, he is the still small voice, like, yeah, his gentleness was just so prevalent in that time.
Yeah. That's crazy that you said that, because that's literally the word when I think of my healing process and God, like, that's the word that always comes to my mind. Like,
You stole the words right out of my mouth.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, definitely his gentleness and him just, like, willing to get low on the ground with you and cry with you. Like, he is feeling the pain for you and with you, and he is crying in those moments with you. And so, yeah, wow. Gentleness. It's, like, such a big one. Yeah.
So any final words, you guys? Thank you for sharing your stories. First of all, they're precious and beautiful to listen to and inspiring to others. So, are there any final words, any final encouragements?
Yeah, you just don't have to go it alone. That would be it can be a very isolating experience. You feel like no one can really understand, like, exactly what you're going through, which is true. Everybody's father experience is different. But you're not alone, and reach out to somebody. Have somebody walk with you through that.
Yeah, I pretty much what Hannah said, honestly. Like, that's really the best thing that you can do, is not sit in it alone, because it's just going to get worse if you just let it fester inside of you.
It's good. Thank you guys so much for being on the podcast today. I'm so glad I could have both of you on at the same time. What a blessing. But maybe we could do other ones with you both.
Wow,
Yes, so we can spill
exciting.
out dirty secrets about each other. More fun facts. But thank you so much for being on the podcast today. Okay, say goodbye. Go ahead.
Bye, guys.
Go ahead, Anna.
Bye.
Okay, this is Jenny, Anna, and Hannah signing off. No Idea Podcast. See you next time.